Do self-help books really work? In the past, self-help was considered a secret vice. Those days have long gone past when you could quietly browse through the self-help section at a bookstore or attend a live conference without telling your wife you have to be before you can do it. It has gone from fringe to mainstream, from cringe to binge, and we are obsessed with it. Self-help books have always been at the center of the industry, regardless of the mediums by which we consume them. From courses to documentaries and surprisingly handsome YouTubers, it's in vogue. The number of self-help books published in the US has almost tripled over the past 6 years, from 30,000 to over 85,000, and I have read 100 of them, ranging from Awaken the Giant Within to The Power of Now. Having read so many self-help books, you can say I have a bit of a problem, but the things I've learned might change the way you view self-help books. A classic self-help book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, was published by Dale Carnegie in 1936, and it is still one of the best-selling self-help books today. He quotes a British philosopher, Herbert Spencer, who said that education should not only be about knowledge, but also about action. This is an action book. One of the most important lessons I've learned from reading over 100 self-help books is this lesson from over a century ago. Making progress requires action, no matter how small. No matter how many self-help books you read, if you don't actually implement the concepts you're learning, you're reading fiction. If you're reading a book about personal finance, try out what the author recommends: pay with cash for everything. You should dust off your sneakers and walk 10,000 steps every day if you're reading a book about exercise. The key is to take these small steps forward, not just theorizing what might work if you're truly looking to make improvements to your life, whether it's your business, finances, or mental health. You should pick at least 3 concepts from every book and put them into practice right away. The best books make it easy to do that. I remember a book by Julian Smith called The Flinch. It describes how we often flinch when we are scared. He uses the example of an amateur boxer to illustrate his point. It's instinctual for a boxer to flinch the first few times someone throws a jab at his face. However, if you want to be world-class or even have a decent shot at not getting kicked, you need to retrain this instinct. The same goes for creative pursuits and living a meaningful life. In the book, he gives a real-life example of what it feels like to flinch. It's easy to do this at home when you're alone. You can do this by going to your bathroom, turning on your cold water, and jumping right into the water. He then encourages the reader to drop the excuses and jump right into the water. Years ago, I remember reading this section of the book and thinking I couldn't possibly jump into a cold shower at that time. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized. As Julian explains, I decided to jump into a cold shower to test out some of these lessons. I should embrace the flinch and see what happens. In order to overcome fear and build the life we desire, we must repeatedly expose ourselves to these kinds of flinches, big and small, from asking out that cute stranger to delivering a live talk to hundreds of people. The truth is, most people don't finish the books they start, much less put the lessons into practice. Less than 10% of people who buy a book read past the first chapter, according to Tony Robbins in his classic book Awaken the Giant Within. It is my challenge to you not only to read this book in its entirety, unlike the majority of people who quit, but to also use what you learn every day in simple ways. There are almost no takeaways that I remember from each of the 100 self-help books that I've read, but they are all brimming with life-changing insights. While I have since fixed this bad habit, I was often too precious with my books. One of my biggest mistakes early on was not taking better notes while reading. I didn't want to earmark the pages or annotate the text, but it's important to track the important takeaways and lessons from the pages if you read a lot. If you take something while reading, it will just go out the other ear. As Ryan Holiday says, the key to my system is to read a book or an article and diligently mark the passages or portions that stand out. It's important to have a simple way to capture and organize information, so the exact system isn't as important as having a simple way to write your thoughts. The key is to choose a strategy that fits your needs. So highlight the most impactful sections, highlight the best ideas, underline the most thoughtful quotes, or keep a notes app open as you read. In order to avoid wasting so much time, you need to take notes after reading 100 self-help books. It is important that you make this information as easy to access in the future as possible, since you will want to refer to it again and again. Oftentimes, the things taught in these books have to be relearned over and over again, so you need to find exactly what you're looking for. Because of this, I have begun to read physical books again. Audiobooks and digital e-readers offer great convenience, but nothing beats reading from a real book. It's nice to be able to touch a book, but it's also easier to take notes, find precisely what you're looking for in the future, and you're more likely to remember what you're reading when you read from a book than if you listen to an audiobook. When I first started out, I did not have any mentors. The authors of self-help books became my mentors, which was one of the biggest benefits of reading them. A freelance filmmaker, a feature-length documentary, or someone who made YouTube videos for a living were all things I didn't know about. I don't know what to do with my hands, so I learned from books instead. I had no one to talk to about this stuff, so I relied on books. In spite of the fact that I couldn't jump on a call with Brené Brown, Seth Godin, or Gretchen Rubin, I could read the books they wrote to learn more about leadership, marketing, and happiness. Self-help books are disproportionately valuable. Think about it. For just $15, you get access to some of the most intelligent people in the world to hear about how they overcame some of the challenges you face. There is an abundance of helpful content in self-help books, and you will miss out on a lot of valuable information and time savings if you don't read them. Whenever people read self-help books, they often make the mistake of blindly following the advice they are given. In her book How to Change, Katie Milkman argues that when policymakers, organizations, or scientists apply one-size-fits-all strategies to change behavior, mixed results occur. However, when they began by finding out what impeded progress and then developed targeted strategies for changing behavior, they got better results. We are challenged to think critically by self-help books that inspire us. The worst tells us to follow a step-by-step plan blindly. It is your responsibility as a reader to question everything. Ask yourself, how can I adapt it? That aggressive sales advice you read in that marketing book probably won't work for you if you're a gentle, empathic person, no matter how well it sounds. Oh, you want to play hardball, huh? It's great because when it comes to balls, it's me who's gonna rub you the wrong way. Oh my God, I didn't mean it that way at all. I really do apologize. There is nothing more important than starting with an open mind, testing 3 things, and hopefully finding one that sticks in the long run. This, of course, doesn't always happen, but it is a really good goal to keep in mind. One of the best things about self-help becoming mainstream and democratized is that it offers something for everyone, no matter where they are in their self-development journey. No matter what you're trying to accomplish, whether it's building better habits, improving your focus, getting healthier, or simply feeling happier, you can get advice from someone who's already tried it. It's important to remember, however, that self-help is ultimately about being the person you are. Take action by questioning, implementing, and taking action in your own life to be an active participant in your own journey. You need to be your own guru, even though it's great to take inspiration from some of these brilliant thinkers. You might be interested in my weekly newsletter called Snail Mail for more anti-prescriptive, non-prescriptive self-help advice that you can instantly apply to your own life. I couldn't put it down because of how interesting the topics were and the best self-development content on the internet on Mondays. People have been saying some really nice things about it. Snail Mail is so great you can sign up for these free Monday morning emails at Slow Growth. Thanks a lot for watching.